videos on YouTube. Twisted entities, ghosts doing the unthinkable, and encounters that will make you shit bricks
What are you doing in my house? What are you?
while watching this compilation. At the very start of an investigation inside an abandoned house, a paranormal team spotted something waiting for them at the entrance. A tall figure, partially hidden, stood with wide eyes and a mouth open as if frozen in mid-scream. It didn't move, didn't flinch, just stared. The air grew thick, heavy with unease, and the team quickly realized this wasn't the moment to push forward. They backed away, ending the investigation early, the figure's presence lingering in the back of their minds long after they left. Dark desert presence. While exploring an abandoned home in the remote areas of Al Ula in Saudi Arabia, a place surrounded by ancient ruins and empty desert settlements, a man felt an overwhelming presence close in around him. Even though nothing could be seen on camera, at one point, the atmosphere became so intense that it felt like the way out was being cut off, forcing him to move quickly before he found himself boxed in by something he couldn't see. Whatever confronted him inside that house didn't need to show itself to make its presence clear, and the way he rushed out of the building made it obvious that staying even a second longer felt like a risk he wasn't willing to take.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق.
Hospital possession. You will feel your chest tighten listening to this one. Because the moment the audio starts, the room stops feeling like a hospital room at all. During a visit to his girlfriend in a hospital in Paris on 22nd January, 11 years ago, a man recorded the woman in the bed beside her suddenly erupting into a deep, unnatural roar that didn't sound human. The voice fixated on him and his girlfriend, speaking as if it were aware of them, and as the intensity built, the recording cut off, with the source later saying the shouting continued, making the encounter feel like something had noticed them and didn't want them there. Ghost leaves stove on. You will feel your stomach drop when you realize this wasn't an accident. After dealing with unexplained activity in his Dallas, Texas home, a homeowner set up cameras expecting small signs of movement, not what followed. The stove turned on by itself and the flame kept growing, as if something unseen was feeding it, filling the room with smoke until he rushed in to shut it off. He later believed he had left it on, but when he reviewed the footage the next day, the fire starting on its own changed that story completely. Basement glow. In Pennsylvania, back in 2014, a woman recorded a chilling moment in her basement.
What are you doing in my house? What are you?
A tall figure stood upright, completely still, its eyes glowing faintly, while its face remained hidden in shadow. It didn't move or react, just lingered in the darkness. The video ended abruptly, yet somehow surfaced online later, leaving viewers unsettled and questioning what they had actually seen. The sudden disappearance and mysterious upload make the footage impossible to shake. Shattered mirror. Nothing prepares you for how fast this moment turns wrong. While two investigators were exploring the basement of an abandoned house, a mirror suddenly shattered without warning. At first, looking like a simple accident. When the footage was slowed down later, a dark shape appeared at the exact moment the glass broke, as if something pushed through the reflection itself, turning a routine investigation into something far more disturbing, and raising the question of whether the mirror was only glass or something meant to be crossed. living flame. This clip is the kind that makes your stomach tighten the second it starts playing. A man entered a house in an isolated area of eastern Egypt that had been sealed for years because of repeated ghost reports, and within minutes of stepping inside, everything changed. A flame suddenly ignited on its own, then began moving through the room and down the hallway without anything fueling it, while the light around it dimmed, as if the space itself was reacting. Panic took over, and the man began reciting religious verses. As the flame drifted closer and closer, burning in open air and breaking every rule of how fire is supposed to work. Elevator figure. This clip is short, but it leaves a long mark on anyone who watches it. Inside a hospital elevator, a nurse was helping a patient in a wheelchair when a figure suddenly formed out of nothing, crossed through the wall, and vanished in seconds. The shock froze her in place before she ran from the elevator, leaving the patient behind. And when the footage was reviewed by hospital staff and later leaked, it confirmed that whatever passed through that wall wasn't a reflection, a shadow, or something the camera invented. Forbidden footage. You will feel your body tense up watching this, because the moment the audio starts, the room no longer feels empty. Footage dated July 2, 2025, shows a man alone in a dark space, surrounded by drawn symbols as he chants into the silence. And almost immediately, the atmosphere shifts. The air grows heavier, shadows begin to move in place, and faint sounds respond to his voice. From the edge of the flame, a shape starts to form, not fully clear but moving with intent, and whatever he was trying to reach feels like something that should have stayed untouched. Cemetery Watcher. You will feel your skin crawl when the timestamp appears on this clip. After hearing strange howls at night, a graveyard worker set up trail cameras across the cemetery, and at 2:39 a.m. one camera caught a tall, pale figure standing behind a tree, its limbs too long, its head tilted as if it were studying the ground in front of it. A minute later, it leaned into view, showing a face that looked almost human, almost convincing, before a bright flash filled the frame and the figure vanished, leaving behind footage that feels less like wildlife activity and more like something choosing when to be seen. Watching faces. This next clip is the kind that messes with your head because it doesn't rush at you. It waits, and that slow buildup is exactly why it hits so hard. A paranormal investigator exploring an abandoned apartment complex in Tangier, Morocco, had placed several cameras on different floors. Minutes later, one camera began picking up movement, and from the darkness, distorted faces slowly started to form in front of the lens, their shapes unclear, as if more than one presence was hesitating to reveal itself fully. The features looked wrong, stretched and unnatural. For a brief moment, one of the shapes appeared with a small spark of flame flickering above its head before fading back into the shadows. Roadside encounter. The tension in this footage builds fast because no one expects something like this during a routine stop. In Fortaleza, Brazil, officers pulled over a truck after the driver mentioned picking up a woman along the road, and when they approached her, her movements became erratic. Her body twitching in ways that didn't look natural, while low, guttural sounds came from her that didn't sound human. The officers had seen people in extreme states before, yet nothing they encountered matched this behavior, leading them to take both the woman and the driver into custody, with what followed remaining unknown. Tenant's worst nightmare. A tenant standing on his apartment balcony noticed a dark figure across the way. It didn't move, didn't blink. It just stared. Dressed in black, its head bent backward in an impossible angle, the sight made it clear this wasn't any ordinary passerby. Even as he recorded, the figure stayed perfectly still, watching silently, sending a cold, heavy tension through the night. The longer he stared, the more it felt like the darkness itself had taken form, observing him with deliberate patience. Ghost in garage? This clip makes you uneasy because the danger never announces itself. As a couple walked out of a parking garage in Mexico, a camera behind them captured a dark, human-shaped shadow moving in their direction, staying close and keeping pace without being noticed. It followed only a few steps behind them, matching their movement with purpose, leaving viewers wondering whether it was choosing when to get closer or simply waiting, unseen, for the right moment to be acknowledged. Shifting paranormal figure. This footage doesn't give you time to feel comfortable before it turns wrong. Security guards monitoring a mental health care facility first noticed a glowing orb drifting across the screen, and seconds later, that light reshaped itself into a humanoid figure wearing clothing similar to the patients inside. Thinking someone had wandered into a restricted area, guards were sent to detain whoever it was, but no one was found anywhere on the grounds. What looked like a camera glitch at first became impossible to ignore when the shape held its form on screen, turning the recording into something that felt less like a technical error and more like something watching from inside the building. Silent worshiper. This moment unsettles people because it looks calm while feeling completely wrong. During afternoon prayer, witnesses noticed a glowing figure shaped like a man standing among the worshippers, moving as if it belonged there. Yet its presence felt different the longer it remained. Some on scene began referring to it as something angelic, but what disturbed the source most was not how it looked, but the fact that most of the people around him could not see it at all, as if whatever stood there had chosen only a few eyes to notice it. Ghost on wheelchair. This is one of those clips that makes you sit forward in your seat, because nothing about it feels random. On a quiet street at night, a surveillance camera recorded an empty wheelchair rolling across the pavement on its own, while a shadowy figure dressed in white appeared on top of a nearby shop at the same time. Moments later, an object from a stool outside the store flew across the street, waking a local who looked around and saw no one. And with rumors tying the wheelchair to an abandoned hospital nearby, the scene feels less like coincidence and more like something repeating a moment it can't let go of. Attic paranormal activity. This footage builds tension because the house is supposed to be empty. After neighbors reported noises coming from the attic of an old apartment, the owner, who was away in Italy, checked the camera footage and saw a chair shift on its own, while a toy horse began moving as if something unseen was playing with it. No one else was inside the building, and the longer the clip plays, the harder it becomes to believe the space was truly vacant, raising the uneasy thought that some places do not stay empty when left alone too long. Haunted well. In Peru, back in 2022, a security camera captured something that made locals avoid a well for good reason. A figure with glowing eyes sat near the edge, looking human at first, but the way it lingered felt wrong. Suddenly, it shifted into a dark, floating shadow, rising above the well. Then another orb-like shadow emerged from the water, meeting it mid-air, as if the two were connected. Locals whispered. It was two friends who had drowned there, now restless, appearing nightly, seeking something unseen. Anyone standing too close after dark knew better than to linger. Damn spirit. A young fisherman in Turkey decided to spend the night at Seytoren Dam, documenting the trip. As darkness settled, he sensed he wasn't alone. Near the water, a pale, floating figure appeared, hollow eyes fixed on him. It didn't move like an animal. It drifted unnaturally. Frozen, he fired a flare, briefly startling it, and ran without looking back. He never returned, and days later another fisherman reported the same apparition, this time even in daylight, proving the spirit didn't care about time, only that it was seen. Fiery humanoid entity. This is the kind of clip that makes you feel uneasy before anything even happens. During a lunch break in Petrozavodsk, Russia, workers noticed a strange glow moving near the storage area, where they had been unloading supplies. And when they looked closer, they realized the light wasn't coming from any machine or reflection. What stood there was shaped like a person, but it didn't move like one, drifting back and forth. This figure did not disappear, but the workers had to go back to work. So it is not known who or what this entity was, and what became of it. Ritual caught on cam. While tracking a suspected cult, an unknown source recorded 2 to 3 members dressed in red as they moved in circles around a fire during a ritual, and the moment they stopped, a thin shadow began to form near them, partly solid and standing where nothing should have been. The distance and darkness hid its details, but its shape was enough to make the scene feel hostile, like something had answered whatever they were doing, marking the first time the expedition team had come face to face with something that clearly did not belong there. Shining figure.
Zoom in right here and it has movement to it, and it does have a shape.
This is one of those clips that makes you pause the video just to make sure your eyes aren't lying to you. During a morning walk in Caxambu, Minas Gerais, Brazil, a man noticed a bright figure standing on a hillside in the distance, completely still, shaped like a humanoid, but glowing in a way that didn't match anything natural. Before he could move closer to get a better look, the figure vanished without warning, leaving behind only the footage and the uneasy feeling that something had revealed itself for a moment and then decided it had been seen long enough.
Almost the shape of a Bigfoot. Crazy.
Ember Circle. If this footage is real, it changes how you look at the dark. Filmed in a remote forest in Montenegro in 2017, several figures are seen circling a fire, not stepping, but hovering as a large symbol burns beneath them. Weeks earlier, locals reported strange lights and sounds in the woods, reports that were dismissed. Yet what appears on screen looks less like a ceremony and more like a signal, followed by silence. No names, no trace, and officials denying the clip's authenticity. Summoning books. Some things feel wrong the second you hear about them, and this is one of them. After finding handwritten manuscripts describing summoning rituals, a group of young paranormal investigators decided to follow the instructions in the exact place the books were discovered. The atmosphere shifted the moment they finished, leaving them shaken.
Você não vai assustar a gente, entendeu?
And later claims suggested the ritual failed, but carried heavy risk, proving that even trying something like this once can feel like opening a door you can't fully close. Talking toys. Inside a Walmart toy aisle, a man pressed a button on a children's toy, expecting simple sounds. At first, it worked normally. Then every identical toy on the shelf began repeating the same words in perfect unison.
Supposed to be by itself, right?
Almost like they were alive and communicating. His wife tried moving one to another aisle, and it happened again. Every matching toy spoke together. The synchronization felt deliberate, unsettling, as if the toys were aware of him, aware of every move. It wasn't playful. It was watching, and everyone who saw it agreed it wasn't something they could explain. Haunted store. Late at night, a passerby filmed a store that appeared completely empty. Lights were off, Silence everywhere, but the closed sign on the door kept swinging, striking the glass again and again, as if something inside was pushing it. No one was visible, no one moving. Online viewers felt the unease immediately. The store owner later confirmed it had happened multiple times, making the footage even more chilling. Whatever was inside wasn't human, but it was moving, observing, and making itself known in ways that couldn't be ignored. Walking shadow. A shop owner was closing up for the night when strange noises came from inside. No one else was supposed to be there, yet the sounds kept coming. He grabbed his phone to record, and that's when something appeared. A small figure at the edge of the frame, moving calmly down an aisle before vanishing. The movement was brief, but unmistakable. One viewer later compared it to a famous horror doll, making the moment impossible to forget, and leaving the shop owner questioning what had just walked through his store. Distant laughter. A security guard patrolling a massive shopping mall at night thought he was alone. Then he heard it. Laughter. Not one voice, but dozens, echoing through the empty corridors.
You hear that shit? What the?
Confused and uneasy, he started searching, following the sounds down endless halls. That's when he saw it, a lone figure standing completely still at the far end, watching. The guard didn't wait to investigate further. He left immediately, abandoning the shift, shaken by the presence that shouldn't have existed but had made itself impossible to ignore.
Staring right at me. Right there.
Ghost entry. During a late-night shift at a convenience store, an employee saw the entrance door swing open like someone had just walked in, but the aisle was empty. Later, reviewing the footage revealed the chilling truth. A mist-like shape had slipped through the doorway before it closed, moving with purpose. At the time, the worker had only looked up after hearing the door click, expecting a customer. Watching it back, it was obvious. Whatever entered didn't move like a human, and it wasn't supposed to be there. Floating box. A man was shopping alone, unaware that something was about to happen behind him. Without warning, a box lifted off the shelf on its own, hovered for a moment, then dropped hard to the floor. No one was nearby. The aisle was completely empty. CCTV caught every second, and an employee filming at the same time confirmed it. People online argued it was either haunted or staged, but the footage left almost no explanation. Watching it, you couldn't help but shy bricks at how impossible it looked. Fading ghost. While exploring an abandoned house outside Mexico City, a paranormal investigator captured something viewers couldn't ignore. In the distance, a small humanoid figure appeared.
Hola. Uy, chucha, salió. Uy, uy.
Standing perfectly still in the dark. When he stepped closer, it vanished into the shadows in seconds, leaving no trace. The building was sealed. No one else could have been inside, and the sudden disappearance made it impossible to tell what had been real. Some say the footage alone is enough to make you shit bricks, imagining what else could still be lurking there.
Está aquí. Miren cómo.
Swinging figure. A camping trip turned nightmarish for a group of friends when strange sounds echoed through the forest. Following the noises, they discovered a swing beneath a large tree, occupied by a human-shaped figure. It moved unnaturally. Arms stretched too far, legs bent in ways that didn't make sense, and a low laugh drifted in the air. Panic set in, and they ran. When they returned later with others, the swing and the figure had vanished entirely, leaving nothing but emptiness behind. Watching that clip, it's impossible not to shat bricks, wondering what they really saw. Storage terror. A night shift security guard heard strange noises coming from a storage room and grabbed his flashlight to investigate. At first, nothing seemed out of place. Then a mannequin suddenly tipped over on its own, crashing to the floor. Moments later, a glass dropped without anyone touching it.
Whoa.
Before he could process it, a woman's crying echoed nearby, low at first, then turning harsh and unnatural. That was enough. He spun around and ran.
Who's there?
Just listening to that audio alone is enough to make anyone shit bricks imagining what he experienced. Vanishing face. After repeated odd events in a restaurant storage room, an employee decided to check the CCTV footage. A single item falling over seemed harmless.
What is that? Right there. Yeah. What?
Until something else appeared. In the reflection of a fridge door, a pale face stared straight back. Seconds later, it faded away, slipping from view like it had never existed. Objects moving on their own are unsettling, but seeing something appear and vanish like that leaves a deep, sinking feeling. Watching it, you can't help but shit bricks thinking what just revealed itself.
Look, is that a face right there, guys? No, look, oh my god!
Haunted doll. A man was filming a doll on display when it suddenly shifted. Slowly, deliberately, its head tilted on its own. He froze, trying to rationalize it. Angles, lighting, maybe a trick of perspective, but the footage didn't lie. The doll moved, untouched, alive in some impossible way. He didn't wait to find out what happened next, and made sure it was removed and secured for good. Seeing that on camera, there's no denying the chill anyone would shit bricks witnessing that in real life. Barber horror. A busy barbershop went from normal to terrifying in seconds, while customers were still getting haircuts. The front door swung open on its own, then slowly closed over and over, leaving everyone frozen. In the reflection of the TV, a faint, almost see-through figure walked into the room. When a barber finally kicked the door open, it slammed back with force, knocking him off balance. After that, the shop closed permanently, and locals whispered about the presence that had taken over. Walking shadow. Late at night in Cinco Saltos, Argentina, a property owner's camera caught a figure moving past in the darkness. Dark hair, dark clothes, and shoes blended into the night, and the face was nearly impossible to make out. The movement didn't feel normal, too deliberate, almost as if the person wasn't fully themselves. Viewers argued online. Some said it was a trance-like human. Others believed it was something far more unnatural passing silently through the area. Every replay left a chill down the spine. School scream. A former Chilean army member shared footage from a patrol in abandoned schools at night. The building was heavy, silent, already unsettling. In the clip, the lieutenant finishes giving an order when a child's scream echoes through a window. Middle of the night, no kids anywhere. As the recruits rush downstairs, the radio warps and crackles, seemingly manipulated by something unseen. Wall crawler. While driving down a dark road in the Caribbean region of Mexico, searching for a missing woman, a driver noticed a strange figure crawling over a low wall. It moved in a way that didn't feel human, closely resembling the mythical Una Bruja from local tales. The bright reddish clothing matched what the missing woman had been wearing, making the sight even more unsettling. He quickly turned back to look again, but the figure had vanished. Whether it was connected to the woman or something far more mysterious remains unknown. White figure. Late at night in a Guadalajara cemetery, a witness noticed a figure standing atop a concrete grave. It was dressed completely in white, its hair hiding the face, and the posture alone screamed that it wasn't human. Later, the same figure appeared on a nearby street, slowly walking in what looked like a wedding dress, letting out a faint, mournful cry. The witness stayed hidden, filming as it vanished into the darkness. The clip is haunting, right? Let me know in the comments how it made you feel. and it will make anyone watching SHGT bricks. Now it's time for today's subscribers' pick. That made viewers shit actual bricks. A video surfaced online and spread quickly, leaving viewers unsettled. It showed a mother asleep in bed, calm at first, until her face suddenly shifted into something unrecognizable. Her eyes glowed faintly, a slow, chilling smile crept across her lips, and her neck twisted in a way no human should move. It wasn't sudden, it was deliberate.